Hello there. Welcome back. This video is going to cover tow vehicle options that are good. What I think are good and what other people around me think are good. So if you're getting into the van life and you're looking at something to live in that is more like a trailer, camper trailer and a vehicle, then you need to consider a very good tow vehicle, an appropriate tow vehicle for it. So in my case, at first, I said it was okay to get a very light trailer, camper trailer, and tow it with just about anything that would tow. And that worked for a couple of years. Like, that was okay. It was kind of risky because the vehicle I chose was a V6 SUV, and it wasn't really appropriate because it had a lot of miles on it. Anyway, I fixed it up a bit, enough to make it a couple of years, so that was good. For the cost, it was well worth it. The thing is that I had to get a new tow vehicle, and I decided to get a more appropriate tow vehicle. And this is the first time that I've towed anything in my life. I chose to get a trailer and a SUV and tow it, and that was the only experience I had. And now that I have a much better vehicle, I can kind of share with you how it changes your experience. So a vehicle that barely makes it is not very fun, really. It's kind of nerve-wracking. I'm a very concerned person when I'm driving, and having a trailer on back of a vehicle that was kind of barely making it, really, up some of these hills was concerning, and I was very stressed out compared to the better vehicle. So I'm going to kind of go over some basics of it and what I've figured out and what I've talked to other people about. So I think you should consider your trailer weight first. Pick out a shelter that you like, that you can afford or whatever when you're first getting into this, and just concern yourself with that first. Figure out how much it weighs after it's all said and done, how much you're towing down the road, and then find a vehicle that is appropriate for, towing it. I find that if you get a vehicle that, let's say the towing capacity is 8,000 pounds, that is an appropriate vehicle to tow something that's about 4,000 pounds, which is most smaller trailers, really. 4,000 or 5,000 pounds is really the top end for a 20-foot, let's say, trailer. So that's pretty much all one person needs. Anyway, you can get into a V6 SUV for a lot cheaper, and it will pull something like a 6-foot trailer, something that weighs 1,500 pounds. It roughly comes down to half of the vehicle's tow weight is what you should go with, I think. Anything else on an older vehicle is risky, in my experience. Now, if the car is brand new and it tows, 3,000 pounds, feel free to approach closer, get 2,000, 2,500 pounds on it. But that's really not the people I'm reaching out to. I think that if you already have that vehicle, then that's great. Maybe keep it and see if you can find a trailer that's appropriate for it. But otherwise, I think people should approach this life with a kind of clean slate attitude, and unless one of the two things was given to you, or something was given to you, and you can try that out and you think it's trustworthy, you should keep that. But I'm talking to people that are kind of starting with just a regular car or whatever on payments, or just a cheap beater or whatever, just cheap as possible. So get the trailer you want, and then find the vehicle that is appropriate for it. And I and a lot of others have come to the consensus that Chevys are probably the best as far as parts and labor and all of that are concerned. If you can find a late 90s, early 2000s, 2006-7 is kind of the latest that you want to get in a Chevy tow vehicle. And those vehicles range from, like an S10 would pull a very light trailer, and that's just a small truck. You can get into the SUVs that would be like Blazers and Tahoes. A Blazer could be a V6 and it would pull, a small trailer if it was in really good shape. Then you have the Tahoe, that's a bigger step up, and it's able to pull a big trailer. Really, it's a half-ton truck frame basically, so it can pull quite a bit. Then you have the actual trucks. That'd be like the Silverado, and that's basically the same thing. A half-ton truck, so it'll pull almost anything. And then you have the bigger ones. That would be like the Suburban SUV, and that is probably just as capable as the Tahoe, but just bigger. I think probably put a bigger engine in it and get more towing capacity out of it. Anyway, if you really want to pull something big that you have or aspire to having, you need a 3/4 ton pickup, very rarely a 1 ton pickup. So that would be like a Chevy 1500 is the half ton. The 2500 is the 1/4 ton or 3/4 ton, and those trucks are sometimes gas and sometimes diesel. You probably want to stick with gas because it's a lot cheaper than diesel most of the time. And if you get into a 3/4 ton truck, you're going to have very low gas mileage overall. So if you get something that's way too big for your trailer, you have to pay the price in gas mileage. So try to find that one step up from the trailer weight that you have and you want, that will just pull that one step up. So that's kind of my advice. Shoot for a Chevy because they're super cheap. You can find the parts anywhere, readily available forever, for a long time. In fact, I was talking about maybe with a friend that is just into Chevys a lot, and I was like, maybe it would be cool to take a nice shell of a Tahoe or a Suburban or whatever Chevy I like, and completely rebuild it. New transmission, new engine, new everything, every little thing. How much would that be? For like a Tahoe, 25 grand, which is awesome for a car that reliably goes 300,000 miles. That's a solid investment. So I just think that's where we are as far as the cheapest way to pull a home around the country are these older Chevys, late 90s and early 2000s Chevys. So there's my take on that. So I just wanted to touch base and see if I could explain my views on tow vehicles and share with you that I now know what an appropriate tow vehicle feels like, and it's so much better. So think about that while you're getting into this life, and I'm glad I could share it with you. So thanks for looking. Have a good one. Bye.